Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And today I am joined by Shannon and Jed Stewart, who are the regional master franchise owners for Urban Clean for the Gold Coast. That's correct, isn't it, guys?
Absolutely.
Correct.
It's quite a mouthful, actually, when you say
it is.
All in one breath. I almost didn't get there. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to tell you a story of your franchise owner journey because at heart, you are still franchise owners, yes, of a much larger region, but, you go through all the same things as a franchise partner. So for those who don't know, what's Urban Clean? Who wants to go with that one?
Go on then.
Go on then.
I will. Urban Clean is a commercial cleaning franchise, franchised in 2014 by Damien, who's our franchisor.
Bone, yes.
Yep. And basically we just provide commercial cleaning services to anyone and everyone looking for our assistance.
And you're only commercial cleaning, not residential at all, are you?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And how long have you had your business for?
We bought the business in February of last year.
Okay, so we are now, so we can do this. We're now we're at the end of October in 2025.
Just over
nearly
18
Halloween.
Yeah.
Nearly 2 years.
Nearly 2 years, coming up to 2 years.
How's it been? How are you feeling? 2 years. So let's say 2 years into the business. What's your take on it at the moment? Your journey. Big question, I know.
A big learning curve.
Yep.
Let's
Absolutely,
say. A lot of self-reflection, a lot of learning, especially going into business with
Your partner.
That's has its own difficulties.
It does.
So obviously learning the whole system of Urban Clean, business in general, and then working with your wife is another step as well in a different direction. Which,
So do you think that in hindsight, and I know you're sitting right next to each other, it's not a pro, has it made it harder or easier, do you think, working with each other as you look back on it? I know it's hard to get perspective on that, but I'm just interested in your thoughts.
It's getting easier.
Yeah.
As time goes by, we have a better understanding of our business relationship and our personal relationship. I think in the early days, and we still do it now, but there's more acceptance of it. In the early days, once we took on the business, all we did was talk about the business.
And when you're at home, even.
Correct.
Yep.
Yep. And our business is based out of home, right? We don't have to have a physical dwelling. We work on our laptops. And in the beginning, it really was a struggle to talk about anything other than the business because it was new. But we sort of put some things in place where it was, 4 p.m. we stopped talking about the business and we created space for the relationship instead of the business taking everything.
And does anyone break that curfew?
All the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. but in short bursts instead of talking about it until we go to bed.
Yeah. So what's something that might make that okay? So like a conversation like that which one of you is more stringent on it? I said, like, it's business talk. Let's wait till tomorrow. It is which one is the one who normally pulls each other into line?
Probably Shannon.
Yeah. I think I'm sick of talking about business now. Let's talk about something else,
Yeah, I can picture you saying that.
You can. The things that I guess bring it up of a night time is because our cleaning is after hours.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
If a franchisee calls us,
yes.
and I'm like, who was
that's
that?
unavoidable, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we'll have that 10-minute conversation where we problem solve or have a conversation around what the topic was, and then it sort of stops. Whereas in the early days, we were talking more about our business because we didn't have a lot of franchisees, talking about our business and our projections for where we want to be and what we want to do, and we'd just strategize until we fell asleep and then wake up and strategize again.
Yeah, excellent. So you didn't start in the cleaning industry. I know that about you both. Yep. What's your background, Jed? What did you start in?
So my background, when I left school, I went and did an apprenticeship in motor vehicles, so in cars. I completed that. And then I went into forklifts. So I was in the forklift industry, for 15 years before, coming into commercial cleaning. So a little bit different.
So what was the reason to go from vehicles or motor vehicles to forklifts?
At the time, I was working for a small car garage, and you could say my best friend at the time was the owner of the car garage, and I always wanted more for myself. So I was never getting anywhere from that. So you
were looking for career progression?
I was looking for career progression. I was still young at the time as well. I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened I knew someone in the forklift industry, and they pointed me in that direction. So I went in that direction as a technician to start with, and then made my way through the ranks there, and ended up as a operations manager in Queensland. And then I left that to come into cleaning.
So for those who don't know, what's a transition like from motor vehicles, so cars, to forklifts? Like what sort of transition? Do you have to do retraining and everything? How does that work?
Yeah, so at the time, there wasn't much of a transition. There wasn't many. You kind of had car qualifications or heavy vehicle qualifications. Nowadays, there is...
It's more specific now, is it?
Yeah, it's a lot more specific now. You can go from school straight into forklifts, and it is a forklift qualification. I did end up doing that as well, but at the time it wasn't too much. I mean, I've always been under the impression electrics is electrics, engines are engines, regardless of what machine it's on. So I personally think the transfer can be quite easy between the industries.
So I'm guessing you've got a little bit of an accent, so I'm guessing it wasn't all in Australia. You're from the UK?
Yes, so I born Australia, but moved to the UK at a young age, and then...
Because normally the other way around.
It is. And most people that move from England to Australia end up moving back to England. So, I mean, my parents did that. So, but
just get a bit of homesick, family. That type of thing.
Correct. Yeah, I think a lot of it's family, to be honest.
Neighbours isn't everything in Australia.
No, definitely not. Everyone doesn't live on the beach and home and away.
Yeah, home and away. People might not know who was watching the podcast, but I know I've got a friend who came over from the UK, and he used to run. He used to tell me stories of had to race home to be home by 3:30 or something to watch Neighbours or something, and it was that was his vision of Australia.
Wow.
And he lives here now and loves it, but that was the vision of it. So, so you were born here, then went back over there, and what was the trigger to come back over here?
I just always wanted to come back over here. I've just always seen Australia as home. I never came for a holiday. I luckily managed to transfer with the business that I was working with in England.
And that's those transferable mechanic skills?
Yeah, as a technician in the forklift industry. So I literally applied for a job over here with the same company, did a few Skype interviews, Skype at the time, and...
You still remember Skype?
We do.
You're laughing, so we still remember Skype. Still exists, I think, doesn't it?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Your parents Skype still, don't they? Your nan in England, they still use Skype.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Some do. Some still there.
Yeah. So I went for a medical and got offered the role, and I think it was about a month later I flew out here, had 2 weeks holiday, and
you were here.
And I was here and started working.
And what year was that? So how long ago?
2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Shannon, what's your background? Where did you jump out of school and to what career path?
Commercial cleaning was definitely not the end goal.
Yeah, it wasn't what you started thinking?
No, left school, finished school, left school. We had that conversation. Obviously, your career advisor in year 10 says now's the time to decide what you want to do.
It's all or nothing.
Yeah, correct. Maybe 90% of them actually go, I don't know what I want to do. 10% do. I was of the 90% that had no idea. I got a job in a bar and worked in nightclubs for quite a while, and then transitioned through restaurants and pubs and just sort of generalised stayed in hospitality. In Sydney, did all of that, and then got into a management role, and then did manage pubs and restaurants and things for the better part of 12 years. And then
so you've got a real hospitality.
Absolutely.
Okay. So are you, in what you both do, are you more the customer service type one? You the client facing one primarily?
We both are actually, both very customer facing. Definitely a transferable skill to go from hospitality to acquiring clients, and obviously client management, keeping them happy, ensuring that the system is followed, and really teaching customer service to our franchise partners, because the clients that we bring on become their clients. So definitely a great transferable skill. And then, I guess the rest is history, and sort of Urban Clean came about, and Jed and I got together, and
that's it. And then the podcast is over. You wrap this up. So if you're thinking back on all that hospitality experience you had of more than a decade in hospitality, what did you get to a point where a plan started to appear for you personally? Because I can imagine there's a bunch of people would start working in bars and then move up and start doing things, maybe go to a hotel, look after a bigger venue.
Yep.
What was the point where you might start to think about something extra?
Yeah, so once I left the first place that I was in, I left there. I was the supervisor of the bar that I was running. We had multiple bars, so multiple supervisors, and kind of saw that one of the things that I like doing is teaching. And as you progress, you pass on your skill set to people that are coming through. And I really liked being able to help people get the skill set that they need to be able to operate in whatever the space was. So that was kind of the biggest factor for me. And then I enjoyed the second side of that was I enjoyed building things up and putting my mark on something. So there's quite a few pubs and restaurants where we were just opening. So I was a part of the
launch,
the launching of places. Been through a couple of pub renovations, and get to have a say in things, and you really get to own something and feel like you've accomplished something. So that sense of accomplishment through going through those different things was really great as well.
So, as you hark back now in your recollection, what do you take from the commercial cleaning that people were doing for you in pubs that you would have been overseeing? What do you take from that for what you do now?
Everything.
Yeah. I think there's got to be some parallels there.
Yeah. I mean, a big eye-opener, I think, when we bought Urban Clean was just realising what the different levels of standard of clean were within the industry.
I've heard many people in the business talk about standards, levels of standards of cleaning and going above and beyond.
That's right. And then, being in pubs and clubs and having to deal with the cleaners and now being the cleaners really opened my eyes as to what we can do to make it better in now having Urban Clean. There's probably a lot of horror stories out there, especially in the cleaning space. Especially in the food industry, you hear a lot of those horror stories around cleaning and standards and things, and it's no different to what we're doing. And for us to be able to do the 1% things right and actually make the client feel like cleaning is a valued part of their business and their expenses, making them feel good about the space. They enjoy going to work because it's clean and it's fresh and they take pride in their workplace.
Yeah, I think
is what we want to do.
It's an interesting point there, I think, because if you go to some fast food restaurants now that used to be renowned for their hygiene and cleanliness, it's not the same experience, I'd contend now. And it is a certain feeling. I think you've raised an interesting point there, because as an employee, you walk into a place that looks great and feels clean. That has a good feeling to it.
Well, you want to go to work, right?
Yeah, as opposed to something that, God, what a pigsty.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you're playing a role there that probably is a little bit deeper than cleaning than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the saying of a clean workplace is a productive workplace.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
You want to go to work, it be clean, not have to worry about anything.
Yep.
Not you having to empty all the bins and do all the stuff yourself. Yeah.
And it's like I said, when being a part of things like renovations or launches of places like that, it is new and it's bright and it's shiny and everyone, has their shoulders back and they walk with a bit of a pep in their step because it is new. And it's no different to when with our business now, like if we go and do what we call an impact clean, which is a deep clean, when we first take on the contract.
I like that name for it, impact clean.
Yeah. So,
much better than deep clean. Everyone does a deep clean.
That's right.
I'd rather impact.
Yeah. So we call it an impact clean, and we go in and basically go top to bottom for the customer to show them what they should have been getting and what the expectation is moving forwards. And it's exactly the same as a renovation. They literally walk in and we get emails, don't we? And it's, thank you guys so much. We didn't realise it could smell and look like this. We're so excited to work with you and so excited to see what the future holds. And that's that fulfilling moment of knowing that you've done something really great for your client.
So eventually you two crossed paths in your journeys. Where did you, because we'll get to the Urban Clean stuff, so we've already touched on a bit, but where did you two meet? How did that happen?
At the nightclub that I had my first job at.
There you go.
Of all places.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was through mutual friends.
Yeah.
Back in we met in 2013, started dating like 2014.
Correct.
So
what nightclub was it?
It's called the Mean Fiddler. It's in Rouse Hill in Sydney.
I know that.
I think anybody in
Everyone
Sydney
in Sydney knows the Mean Fiddler.
Yeah, I think
we'll drop that hashtag in this.
hashtag
send
the
it out
Fiddler.
there. Meetups in the Mean Fiddler.
When I worked there, we were the number one pub for violence like 3 years in a row.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
well done.
wonderful little title to have.
Cause violence while I was there.
I thought you were about to say we were the number one club for weddings.
No,
or something like that.
it wasn't. It was just
quite a tangent.
Yeah, the sheer volume and capacity of the place was why obviously we had the title, because there was so many people. So one incident is multiple incidents in a large venue like that. But
It was the place to be, though.
it was the place to be. It was outdoor under the stars, bars and nightclubs and stuff, and it was just a different market at the time. And we met through mutual friends there.
Yeah.
And then, started dating in 11 years this year. So
Dating 11 years or married 11 years?
married 6, together
6,
11.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got children? You do, don't
No,
you?
just one little boy,
One
Oliver.
Yep.
2 dogs, though.
2 dogs.
Okay, so that's 3 children then.
Yeah. Snake. Lizard.
So how old's Oliver?
8.
8. So what's the juggle like for that? So work. I suppose you don't juggle is a bit easier when you work from home. You don't have a premises in the evenings and everything. You already touched on that sort of bit, haven't we?
It's the reason why we bought the business, wasn't it?
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was one of the big reasons for it, to give us that flexibility with Oliver. Granted, when you're working in a business and you still, we do get it. Oliver will say, "Oh, are you still working at night?" And our industry as well. I had it last night. I had a message at 10:30 come through. Work, right?
Yep.
So yes, we do a fair bit of work at night, but during the day. But it does provide us the flexibility. If Oliver's got something on at school, we can go. We can be there.
Or if he's sick, he stays home.
Yeah.
We stay home.
So what was the process to lead up to it? So you've been married 6 years now. You've been together for 11. What was the point you started to think about? We wanted to get into a business, because if you've been in nearly 2 years now, what was the progression to that?
Well, we were kind of looking at either property or business, and as great as property,
different strategy. You're talking property development or
no? It was in just investing,
Okay,
right?
yep.
So we had some money behind us. We were thinking of buying an investment, and look, as great as that would have been, and still is,
Interest rates just went crazy as well. We went from really low to the 6% happened, and we were like, I'm going to need more deposit to be able to get the house that you want.
So you were thinking more passive at that time and staying in your roles potentially.
Yeah,
is that what you think?
kind of, yeah. But then
I ask this a lot because I think there are probably a lot of people thinking through this process for themselves at all times in any economy. I think this is happening.
I think for us as well, there was more around. There was that option of going into property investment, and then when we thought of business, we thought, well, there's a side of it that we want the flexibility. Just buying an investment property, great for long-term gains, but at the time would still have to be working in our everyday jobs.
Yep. So you don't get flexibility.
So we don't get that flexibility. So we wanted to move down that path. Investment property is great. There's no limit to it, but in business as well, there's no limit. So you can build on something, and we wanted to. I suppose we basically both always said we don't always want to work for someone. We want to work for ourselves.
That's right.
And that is the flexibility, helping people as well. Yeah,
helping people achieve. Okay, so when was the trigger of the decision making? So when did you decide we're not doing property, doing business?
I think the interest rates were the big one.
That was it.
That was the big one. So we bought on the Gold Coast 4 years ago, 5 years next year, low interest rates, which was great.
Low prices too.
It was relatively low. And then obviously all of a sudden, especially on the Gold Coast, interest rates went up nationally, but on the Gold Coast, the property market basically doubled itself in the last couple of years.
Yeah,
so
there are people who say 30, 35%. No, when you look at that to then, it's
correct. That's exactly
when
right.
you see the reality of pricing when you're looking around.
Yeah. And I think one of the other big catalysts was because with my work that I was doing, it's shift work, right? So you've got to be days, nights, mid shifts, weekends, all of those sorts of things. And with Oliver getting older and me missing out on the family time, Jed doing the single dad thing, to be honest, most weeks he was doing the drop off and the pickup. And
because your hospitality
because of the hospitality.
Later nights,
that's right.
Like that.
You know, I start work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Wow. And then you sleep till 10 o'clock the next day, you know, trying to do the normal sleep pattern thing. So that was another contributing factor to just being able to do, I call it the 9 to 5. It's not 9 to 5, but doing the Monday to Friday business thing. Otherwise, it would have had to have been a change of careers again to go into either the corporate world or something, do get a 9-to-5 job, Monday to Friday.
Okay, so you decided on business then. So what was your criteria for business search and how did you go about it?
I don't think we had one.
I don't think we really had one, to be honest.
I was expecting something really deep.
Yeah,
Here's my spreadsheet and here's my system.
No, we talked about transferable skills.
Yeah.
That was a big one. It was something
So into something to the mechanics or
by a
hospitality
coffee shop or a
pub
restaurant. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So we looked for similar industries that we were used to, I suppose, and had been in.
Which is a great way to start. I mean, de-risking, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you know them well.
We did inquire on a few different businesses.
Even there was, I think, a world gym. We were looking at gyms because Jed was into fitness and his brother's into fitness, and we thought about that sort of path and gyms and coffee shops, coffee club, a few other things that were for sale. One of the big things that we found was we would inquire and actually not hear anything back. Or we would inquire and they would basically ask you what kind of capital you had behind yourself. So how much money are you willing to spend before you actually spend $1?
Yeah.
So
I was going to say it surprises me, but it doesn't surprise me when you don't even hear back. It doesn't surprise me because I have worked with hundreds of brands and I've seen the level at times in some of the brands and the lack of attention to urgency that gets put on a golden inquiry for a person who's actually suggesting, hey, I might want to invest $500,000 in your brand. Treated like gold.
Yeah. To be honest, I think some of it wasn't necessarily the brands as such. It was, I think, maybe just the brokers that they were using.
That's true. That's the other perspective. There's a number of moving parts there and it can fall down a number of areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still worry. If I was a brand, I'd want to be all over that because, well, if it's a broker, then maybe the brand doesn't have the right standards to measure the success and the performance of that broker because they're affecting their brand and their business. So yeah, sorry, I better not go on too much of that because as you can see, I'm starting to twist in my chair. But another thing I also dislike is that this whole thing about in your initial inquiry, they're saying how much liquid capital do you have? I was like, I understand qualification, but let's have a conversation first.
Yeah.
Well, that's
before
exactly
you start
right.
asking questions like that about
and
me.
It's no different to when we sell a franchise, right? Like if they come to us, even if they came to us and said, we've got $100,000 to throw at you for a franchise, there's other criteria that they have to meet. We have to be able to work with them. So, if you're buying into a franchise or whether you're buying a standalone business, there's obviously a handover period. You've got to be able to work with the person. You've got to be able to build a relationship, make sure that they can actually do the job requirements, of buying the business, because otherwise, especially in franchising, you can go from 0 to 100 in the wrong direction pretty fast if you're just taking on people for the sake of taking on people.
It's true, and it's also the old someone might misinterpret that question, say for example about liquid capital. They ask for how much you've got. They might not have that right now. But
Correct.
I mean, we interviewed someone recently who inquired 6 years prior.
Yep.
If they were shut out straight away with not even a conversation started, they never have got there. So maybe they'll build up to it. Anyway,
Correct.
That's a whole other topic, but it's interesting that was your experience.
Yeah. But we're even talking with a potential franchisee at the moment, and they looked at Urban Clean 2 years ago before we purchased the region, and it's just been in the back of their mind for the last 2 years, and now they're like, well, now might be the time to execute. So
I think the cycle's getting longer.
Yeah.
I think and the evidence is showing in discussions that the cycle is getting longer.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, like you said, even if they don't have the capital, if you leave a good impression, they're potentially going to come back to you.
Yeah, and it's actually not hard to do, is it?
It's not.
No, it's not. But I mean, we're firm believers of again, like you said, they can have 100,000 sitting there right now, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right person for
your business,
our business, our brand. So there is that other criteria as well.
So your process you went through cafes, gyms, all that sort of stuff there. When did a commercial cleaning business come onto the horizon and how did it come on the horizon?
It didn't for me.
Another giggle.
It didn't for me.
Bit of a funny story, that one. So I was on Seek looking at different businesses, and then I did see Urban Clean, and I thought, just as a cleaning franchise, and then I also seen for the regional master. And I kind of looked at it and thought, no, I want to go all in on the regional master. If
you want the bigger, you don't
want
want
the bigger one.
Because that would be a unit location.
It would be a unit location, And I looked at it. It sounded great. I said to Shannon, I was like, have a look at this. Shannon's, I'm not going into commercial
What?
cleaning. Cleaning.
Why is that? Why at that time?
I mean, I don't like to clean my house, let alone anyone else's business, to be quite honest.
Fair.
But I like I said to Jed, why? What have we got that would benefit this business? And Jed sort of, I guess, took the approach of, well, it's a part of a system. There's going to be procedures in place. There's going to be education. You're going to learn maybe the skills that you need to learn, and it had low overheads. So all the other businesses that we had looked at, the gyms, the coffee shops, especially to buy a franchise food business, your outlay is anything from $500,000 to $2.5 million. Especially if you start talking large like McDonald's and things like that, pardon me, there's a huge outlay before you even walk in the door. Whereas with Urban Clean, we needed a laptop and ourselves and we could work from home, you know.
And you purchased the regional master was an existing region, wasn't it? So it was already up and running off an existing regional master.
Yeah, it was very small, very small. It was, you could say it was pretty much a bit of a greenfield at the time.
It wasn't being worked.
Not really, no. And I said to Shannon, I said, look, let's just inquire, go for a meeting, let's meet these people, and we'll see. Right?
I think you had 2 or 3 meetings before I came
I
along.
went.
I was in disbelief. I was
He's
like,
saying, I don't want to.
I was like, you figure it out, and then I'll jump on.
So you were still you were interested, but you wanted Jed to do a bit of the legwork on it? Was that
I said to Jed, I'm like, if this is something that you think you believe in, I want you to make sure it is something that you think that we can do before I come in and join it, because I wanted him to believe in it, not just think of it as not that it is, but think of it as a get rich quick because it's got low overheads, or make sure that it's real, it's tangible, it's physical. There are a lot of, I guess, as a bit of a skeptic, there are a lot of people out there that advertise a business with low overheads. It's not actually a business that can go anywhere.
It's not scalable. You mean?
Be scalable. So, Jed went for a few meetings first, and then he was like, no, this is it. And like wholeheartedly came to me and was like, this is the thing. Like the eye contact, everything, his body language was like, we're doing this. And I was like, right.
Why was it the thing?
I think it was once I heard exactly how the regional operates as a business, it was that transferable skills. And that's what, I mean, in our house.
So you felt that from all your other experience, you actually can plug in?
Yeah. So I think it was the management skills. I like finance, the finance side of things. It was, and the way that Urban Clean was set up, it made it, I'm not going to say easy, but it was having systems and processes in place makes a huge difference. And I think that's one thing where going from a normal business to a franchise system, a lot of people say with franchising, you're buying a job. That's not the case. You are purchasing a business which has a lot of processes in place already that you as a franchisee just don't have to worry about.
Yeah, that statement, you're buying a job. Sure, if you want. I mean, this is the thing. If you want to get a man in a van thing, or just a small regional territory and turn over 150K a year or 175, and it gives you the systems to do it, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
No, there isn't.
I have franchisors who have man in a van type ones who complain to me about franchisees that are only earning 150K a year. Well, that's all they want to earn.
Yeah.
They actually wanted to replace their income, but they're also buying flexibility.
Yeah,
correct.
Clearly exactly what you're after.
That's exactly right.
It's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the big thing there is it's perfectly fine for someone to come in and if that's all they want to earn, that's great, right? If that's what they want to do, it's just a matter of as long as that person follows the system.
Yep. Totally.
And ultimately they still are a business owner.
Yeah.
So as long as they're following the system and still seeing clients doing what they need to do,
fulfilling their obligations, so it's not damaging the brand.
Exactly,
correct.
Exactly.
Like not servicing clients because they just don't want to. They're not interested anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not just servicing the clients to get a paycheck and then that's it, right? Because that is just a job.
That's not sustainable either.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Because you've got to keep replacing them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Keep letting them down.
Exactly.
I think one of the other things that really, I guess once I dove into conversations with Jed and we sort of were talking a bit further with Damien and the team, was really that all of the systems and processes and all the effort that's been put into franchising this business, if anyone was to start a cleaning business and do it the right way, you're looking at probably 10 years worth of building systems, right? And you get that instantaneously because it's already been built up over the last period of time. So, even if it just policies and procedures in general, things like you don't think about when you're starting a business, even if you're a mechanic, right, you're starting a workshop, you're not thinking about work health safety or safe work method statements and all those sorts of things. You just want to buy the equipment and do your job.
And it's a perfect point. It's exactly my annoyance on TikTok or Instagram or whatever when anyone mentions franchise. We put a lot of franchise stuff out there and people make comments like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just start one yourself? I'm like, do you know how hard it can be to start your own?
It can.
Mostly said by people who haven't started their own business.
Yep.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you can. You can go do it yourself. There's lots of education out there. But it's supposed to be a bit of a shortcut. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of skeptics out there with franchising, and you see the comments all the time as well on social media and that. But I think anybody who has bad comments either hasn't started and gone in that direction, or they've known somebody that's gone in and it's not worked for them. But
and they can literally have had some bad experiences.
Correct.
Too,
Don't get me wrong, there
For
definitely is some franchise businesses out there which aren't right, but as well, it comes down to the person, right, that has purchased the franchise. It's you get what you put in, and that's what I say. Is that if you're purchasing a franchise, if you put the effort in, you can make it successful.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So with that perfect wrap up, let's wrap up with what's the vision? What's a couple of years ahead look like? So what are your plans? Just in growing your region, more unit owners? Where's the focus at the moment?
Both. To be honest, probably more cleaning contracts is number one priority because that's what grows our business.
It's also what sells franchises.
It
when you
sells
tell them
franchises.
we've got it here waiting for you. You just got to sign the dotted line. The work's available.
Yep.
That sells a franchise just as much. It is. Yeah, very
so
much.
here's all this work for you.
Yep.
You can get started straight away.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So I think that's the short-term goal. The long-term is, definitely more franchise units on board in the Gold Coast. But, it takes time.
Excellent. Well, no doubt we're checking back in. Maybe we'll check back in 12 months. Hey, what do we say today?
Sounds good.
Sounds
Excellent.
good to me.
Well, thanks, Jed and Shannon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, mate. And that's it for another one of the Franchise Everything podcast. Hope you like this. Please share, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff like I say every time. And I'll catch you in the next one soon.